Welcome back to the intersection of faith and business. I am your host, Gerron Moore, and today we're diving into one of the most mysterious and powerful scriptures for kingdom entrepreneurs. Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Ecclesiastes 11:1. What does that mean for us as business owners, dreamers, and builders in the kingdom? Let's unpack it together. So let's look at this scripture in context. The book of Ecclesiastes is often about wisdom, about understanding, seasons, timing, and the reality of life's uncertainties. In chapter 11, Solomon is saying something very practical and spiritual at the same time. When he says, cast your bread upon the waters, in ancient culture, that bread referred to grain, seed that you would scatter even when you didn't know if it would grow. And the waters represent risk, uncertainty, and faith. So in other words, Solomon is saying, invest, give, sow. Even when you don't know the outcome, because in time, it will return. So the kingdom entrepreneur's perspective, it speaks directly to how we operate. We often face moments where God asks us to move, to sow, to invest, to launch, to give, even when it doesn't make sense. So maybe he's telling you to start a new product line. Maybe it's time to hire that extra help, even though you're not sure how you'll cover the cost. Maybe it's sowing financially into someone else's vision. That's casting your bread. And when we do that, it's not about taking this blind risk. It's about faithful obedience. Because we're not just investing in business, we're investing in kingdom principles. Let's look at the principle of after many days. So in Ecclesiastes, it says, for you will find it after many days. That phrase, after many days, is powerful. It tells us two things. There is a return. So what you sow, it will come back. And then number two, there is a delay. So it's not going to happen overnight. So don't get weary in the waiting or in the doing good, as the scripture says. The seed you planted months or even years ago might just now be sprouting. What God honors is consistency and faithfulness. And every time you show up, every time you create, every time you serve, you're casting bread. You're sowing into the waters of faith. Let's take a look at divine diversification. So verse 2 continues, give a portion to 7 and also to 8, for you do not know what evil may come upon the earth. That's kingdom diversification. Solomon is saying, don't put all your trust in one thing. Spread your generosity, your ideas, and your ventures. As entrepreneurs, this is practical. Don't rely on one income stream, one product, or one platform. But spiritually, it's about trusting God enough to keep sowing in multiple ways, knowing He controls the harvest. I might also add that you want to play to your strengths, right? So if I'm going to invest in something that I don't even know anything about, I cannot reasonably expect to have a good return. But if I invest in something that I know very, very well, I've done the research on it, I have the experience and the background, that I can expect to make a return. So make sure that you are investing in those strengths that you have. Faith over forecast. Verses 4-6 says, he who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never move. I know this all too well. How many times have we delayed something because it didn't feel like the right time? But faith moves before the forecast looks clear. God is not asking us to analyze every cloud. He is asking us to sow anyway. Verse 6 wraps it up perfectly. In the morning, sow your seed. And in the evening, do not let your hand be idle, for you do not know which one will prosper, this or that. That's the entrepreneurial life. You keep sowing, you keep building, and you just keep trusting in the Lord. Let's reflect a little bit. So what bread is God asking you to cast right now? Maybe it's your business idea, your generosity, or your time. I know for me, I feel like it is marketing. We're needing to plant seeds of marketing for our business to help it grow, to build the brand awareness. Reflect on that and decide, what is it right now for you? Remember, the seed doesn't grow in your hand. It grows when you release it. When we cast our bread upon the waters, we're saying, God, I trust you with the outcome. I know it's not easy, but that is what he's calling us to do. So here, I have something for you, this call to action. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to reflect and apply it this week. Ask yourself, where is God calling me to sow even if it feels uncertain? And what's one act of obedience that I've been delaying because I'm waiting for the perfect conditions? And then how can I diversify my giving or investing both spiritually and practically? Take that next faithful step. Your bread will return after many days. I want to thank you for joining me on the intersection of faith and business. I'm Gerron Moore. And until next time, keep building with faith, wisdom, and obedience. I'll see you later.